so I don't know.
Now she knows how we feel.
However, I have hope. Positive thinking. What's a riot is you don't see commercials. There's nothing for this. Because they have commercials for everything. Eye disease, diabetes, everything. They don't have anything for this. Because if they did, they'd be having commercials. And they'd be dancing.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission on Monday, September 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please, Gina.
Rocco Gonzalez.
Here.
Mark Leisner. Mark Piontek.
Here.
Tom Holtmeyer. Mayor Hagedorn.
Here.
John Boardman.
Here.
Chuck Watson.
Here.
Chad Briggs.
Here.
Carolyn Witt.
Here.
Mike Wood.
Here.
Sarah Skeen. Here.
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I trust everyone's had a chance to read the minutes from the August 12th meeting. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that the minutes from the August 12th meeting be approved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First item on the agenda is file number 24-0901. Applicant is requesting a special use permit for intensive outpatient treatment at 602 East 5th Street. Sarah?
Good evening. We have a special use permit for a outpatient treatment facility that provides counseling, job coaching, financial literacy services, among other services. They are located in a C2 overlay district, which is special use permit actually in all districts, so it doesn't matter where they put it, they're gonna need a special use permit. The parking, you can see behind the building, we got 6th Street off-street parking, so plenty of room for parking for staff or for clients, although the applicant did let me know that most of the clients get transported there or they walk. There's a group home on Burnside that will be using that facility, and then a new group home that's on 5th Street will be using that facility for services, so they're within walking distance, so parking shouldn't be an issue. The other uses around, you can see it's a mix. We got the senior development to the east, and we have, of course, C2 overlay, which is the common district. So a variety of uses allowed there. And the applicant is here if you have any questions about their services. Their hours are regular business hours, 9 to 5.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners?
Was there any comments from neighbors?
Nobody has come to me.
Because it's a mix
Yeah.
setup. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, there is a resident across the street, and it's actually a family member of an employee, and she's like, what is this? And when I explained it to her daughter, oh yeah, she already knows about that, so, yeah.
Good, good.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
I'd say, in general, much like Life's River in the way of, having some type of unique special use permit, the services themselves that I think they'll be providing are gonna be really critical for the community. Definitely makes sense that it's within walking distance from the hospital, because I know that a lot of people that I imagine a lot will be using hospital and that facility. So then reducing that barrier of transportation will be great. And once again, similar like Life's River, I know Hanani House, like the work that Tanya's doing, they've always been really clear communication with leadership, the community, things like that, and definitely provide a relevant service.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak? The owner, if you want to come forward and say anything, or please introduce yourself, your name.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Tanya Hankins. I'm the founder and executive director of Hanani House, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We were established in 2019. We have 2 women's houses in Augusta, Missouri. 2 years ago, we opened a 3rd women's house at 300 Burnside for women's recovery housing. And we're in the process, excuse me, of opening our first men's house at 130 East 5th Street. Since we've initiated recovery housing, we don't just put people in the house and say, good luck to you. We provided a comprehensive list of recovery support services, which include outpatient groups, substance use counseling, very structured. There's meeting requirements, attendance requirements. You have to have a sponsor. You have to work 12 steps with your sponsor. We recently received our certification through the Department of Mental Health for substance use intensive outpatient adult treatment. And again, this is just a carrier. We've been providing these services to our residents for the duration of our recovery housing program. And it just made sense to, because we're running good programs and we're serving the community, to extend that. Since we got the IOP building, we were running our groups from that location, and it just made sense to open up our services. I did want to mention, somebody mentioned the Mercy Hospital. We are in partnership working with an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with, I know, can I slaughter that all the time, but with the Mercy Substance Use Recovery Clinic in Union, and they provide all our MAT and behavioral health medication and treatment services, so it's been a really good partnership. If they come to us from certain treatment providers, they're super over-medicated, to just put it plainly. And so we send them directly there, and Dr. Tanis Bast is an excellent provider who will take the time to sit down and talk about symptoms and different things like that. So we have a number of community partnerships, and we love the community, so we're trying to build to it and add to it versus, I don't think there's been any complaints about our recovery house. I don't even know if anybody knows really that we're here, but that's good, that's the point. But anyway, we've been ready to go for substance use intensive outpatient treatment at that location. As soon as we get the green light and a special use permit, if we're going to, then I can see it. As mentioned, the two houses on Burnside and then East Fifth Street, it's within walking distance. And then that van that was shown in front is actually, we have two vans, so I'd say 1 in 10 of our residents may have a car. We don't let them drive the first 30 days or use their cell phone, because we believe in recovery first. Let's get them protected and safe and stabilized in recovery, and then during that first 30 days when they're going to 4 groups a week and all the other program requirements, they usually have, a good chance to have the separation between the thought of the next substance use running the show. So it's been a good program. We've been pretty successful, and we hope that we can continue to serve the population here in Washington in the substance use department.
What is the age range for your clients?
So no one under 18. The youngest female we've had is 20. And we do have a pretty good elderly I'm 53, so I don't mean to say, like well, how do you term that? Yeah, elderly is a sticky thing, but between the ages of 55 and 65, we have maybe 8 or 10%. So 18 to 65 is the general demographic, I would say.
Thank you. Any questions?
How are you
for
funded?
them?
Did you say you're a C3?
So we are a contracted recovery housing provider for the Department of Mental Health through federal grants, and then clients, so they're funded at our recovery housing program, and their entire 16-week outpatient or more, if needed, is funded through the Department of Mental Health.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there aren't any other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll entertain our motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the special use permit for 602 East Fifth Street, the intensive outpatient treatment facility. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. This goes to council now, right? Yep.
Correct.
Which is
Next, the 23rd.
23rd.
23rd, okay?
Yeah.
So, very good. Next on the agenda is file number 24-0902, voluntary annexation. Kurt Understall, the application is requesting to annex approximately 12.89 acres. The exhibits attached for the Highlands development.
So this is a continuation of what's already being done. The Highlands Meadows at the Highlands. They're actually going to be changing the name to the Highlands now for the next 3 phases at least, which you'll see here when we get to the preliminary plat. But they're coming in at R1D, which again, single family, fairly low density on 7,500 square foot lots or larger. So it's just a continuation, and it meets the comprehensive plan goals for more residential going south of High Street. And there's not a whole lot conversation about, and you'll see on the preliminary plat about adding through streets as opposed to the cul-de-sacs we've been seeing, so we'll see that here too. So that's a nice change of pace.
Thank you. Any questions from commissioners for Sarah? Kurt, I see you in the audience. Is there anything you would like to say? All right.
Just giving the planning and zoning an update. My name's Kurt Understall, for the record. We plan on it. This is part of the Marquardt Farm that's behind the Jasper Farm. So I think the comprehensive plan shows High Street going through and connecting eventually to Highway A. So this is the first phase of many more phases to come. So Rouse Development is here that's building the homes out there. And they've got good, strong demand for workforce housing, starter housing. So they're going to continue to build homes. So as you'll see on the plat coming up here next, so that's what we're going to do. So thank you.
Any questions for Kurt from
You
the
want to hold
commissioners?
off on plat questions until we get there?
Yes, we'll do
Okay.
that as a separate entity. Any questions for Kurt? Anyone else in the audience care to speak on this? Please state your name.
Hey, good evening. I'm Adam Bear with Rouse Company. Just wanted to introduce myself. As Kurt mentioned, we're in there building homes. We've had great demand. We're very thankful to be here and look forward to more to come. So I'm here if you have any questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved for the annexation.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the annexation of 12.89 acres known as the Highlands Development. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to file number 240903, preliminary plat. The applicant is requesting approval of the Highlands, a 48-lot subdivision. Sarah?
Okay, so you can see on this plat, there is the 3-phase construction with Emily Lane going all the way to High Street, making that connection there. And then we have 2 new streets which will be named in the future, meeting the International Fire Code requirement to keep a minimum of 30 homes or less, with 1 connection. So these are definitely all multi-connections here, and this is good planning. And again, R1D. The High Street connection, there is not necessarily a finalized plan, but as you can see here in the corridor that they have that going all the way to Highway A and Chamber. So there will be a connection in the future there too.
Okay, any questions from commissioners?
Looks good.
Comments?
You bringing Kurt back up?
I'm going to bring Kurt back up, yes. Kurt, would you please come back up? So, I know I have some, but I'll yield
I was just
to-
going to ask about the stubbing of Emily Lane. Are you planning on another phase then, that continuing on? I don't know what the demographics
Yeah,
are out there.
Emily Lane is, and Darren's in the office, he can correct me if I'm wrong here, but Emily Lane was stubbed by the previous developer to the east, Autumn Leaf subdivision. So at the request of the city, we just continued those 2 streets over to High Street, which is a collector street for future comprehensive planning. So gives the fire department another access. If any of you have taken a ride out on Sophia Drive, it is unbelievable how well that road connection is being used. Basically, I would say 80% of Autumn Leaf cuts through to
I see it at High and 100 when I'm trying to turn left on Highway
yes.
100.
You know,
We're almost gonna
um,
need to get a dedicated light there. for those
Prosperity
going
does
left.
cause problems, but yeah, the stoplight at 100 needs to be probably lengthened or adjusted because before that was connected, nobody really lived back there. I mean, the senior housing's doing good, but not a lot of vehicle traffic. But now that that's connected, I know the chief uses it, Fire Chief Brunkenberg uses it all the time, so I've seen him flying out of there, so it's all good. But Emily Lane is slated to go to High Street. Because they've had such big demand for housing, we wanted to get something going this fall yet. The left side of the, as I'm looking at it, or the west side of High Street, we don't have that plotted yet, but that will be an addition as well, and it'll be looped roads as well, coming basically to feed all the traffic to High Street to take them back to 100, so.
Kurt, most of the lots on here, 48 lots, I think, are there's looks like 80 or 90% of them are 7,500 feet.
Right.
What kind of house would you anticipate going on there?
I'm gonna turn that over to Adam. In fact, Adam, this was, it's a preliminary plat, and we put the smaller homes, and he asked if we maybe move some bigger lots and eliminate some lots, so maybe the final plat might have some bigger lots on it to accommodate his sales demand, but I'm gonna let him talk about the types of homes and the sizes. He's well more versed than that than I am, but this is something that we're kind of working in conjunction with Rouse Company.
I have a couple questions for you yet before we get to
Sure.
Adam, though, if you don't mind. Are you finished, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the concerns I see is the runoff from the lawns into Autumn Leaf subdivision on that east side. It looks like
Actually, John, the plan we had was, original plan, we were gonna do cul-de-sacs on those streets. And Rouse, being a, good first-class builder they are, they asked if they could do the walkouts to this existing subdivision. So what that does is, if you can envision High Street being high and the loop road being low, as the water comes down the storm inlets, it catches on the lower bottom street, and it's directed to the detention basin in the southeast corner of that phase. So, and Cameron did the engineering calcs on it, but he said basically, right now that entire bean field runs on Autumn Leaf. There's no terracing, there's no nothing there. This will actually reduce the amount of runoff onto the neighbor. So, and I think if you look there, there's storm inlets in the street to collect it and catch it. So the little bit of rooftop runoff that's gonna be on those walkout lots to the east will be less than actually what's coming off the bean field. So we did look at that.
Good. The other question, and I talked to Kevin Quatham today about it, was the water pressure. Because I noticed on the elevations where the street grade was that you were at like 631 for that elevation, and I wanted to find out what the water pressure would be, because that's starting to get pretty high there. And Kevin says it's gonna be probably around 50 PSI, which isn't the best, but if you got a 2-story house, you may not have 45 at the top shower in the bedroom. So just wanted the commission to kind of be aware of that too, that something we need to watch as we have the development and we get into these elevation changes, water pressure comes into play. And 50 is
Yeah,
okay.
that's gonna be an ongoing problem. Washington right now has excellent water system, excellent water towers. In fact, they just built one out in South Point to address that. The problem you have between Washington and Krakow, you jump in elevation. So as the town bit grows south, the town's gonna have to make a decision: do we invest in a higher tower, or do we buy pressure off of Krakow? Krakow's got a lot of pressure right now sitting out there by the golf course. So those are all problems that are above my pay grade, but certainly Darren.
Right, and
Darren's gonna have to address those, but.
I just wanted to make sure the commission
That gray
understands
hair
that,
and Darren,
because that's
yeah.
something,
But yeah, no, we've taken a look at that. In fact, I met with Kevin. There's actually a high pressure and low pressure system, and there's another plat here, and I'll point it out on the next agenda item. But there's a high pressure system that comes off the tower off of Pottery Road, and it comes to the east, and then he wants to break that. I think Meadow Lake subdivision was put on high pressure. The commercial development in Highlands and this development is on what they call low pressure. So that goes back to Gary Thornhill days, and again, it's kind of, I just know enough to be dangerous about the water system.
I'm not going to elaborate on that. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Kurt? Adam, you want to come back up then? Thank you, Kurt.
So someone was asking about the homes we anticipate. So I don't know if you've been out there, we've started
Many
kind of in the
times.
existing. We've got a few holes in the ground, so you can't see what's going up yet, but in general, we'll probably offer about 10 to 12 different floor plans that kind of vary in size, ranch, 2-story. Square footage wise, you're probably looking at 1350 to 2250, kind of in that range. 2-car garage standard, option 3rd car garage. All of them would have basements, so if somebody wanted to finish it off, they could increase their square footage there too, so.
300-ish?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
you're-
right now, I think the starting is like maybe 290 to 360 or 70. And then, you know, if they choose some of those add-ons, then it'll bring the price up. Sure.
Is there rock in most of that development? Because I noticed on that first
In
street.
the front, I
Yeah,
don't know
you-
how much testing we've done in the back yet, but
There's
yeah, we've done some in
a
the
lot
front.
of rock coming out there.
Then we got his rock.
Washington.
Any other questions for Adam?
Do you plan on using a display home for a real estate office, and did you see our regulations that we approved
Yes,
last month? And you're
Sarah,
okay with, okay.
Sarah sent those to me, which we can get to later on too, but yeah, she shared that with me, and we do plan on using that, for the future. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
That's good.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
If no other comments or questions, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the applicant preliminary plat for the Highland subdivision, a 48-lot subdivision. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on. File number 240904, preliminary plat, Highland Meadows Plat 10. The applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat for Highland Meadows Plat 10, a 5-lot subdivision. Sarah?
Okay, so this probably looks familiar. We're replatting. We have 3 parcels right now. The proposal is for 5 lots. Out of that, you see, here's the design here with the 5 lots. And then the 0.3 acres is going to be dedicated to 60-foot right-of-way to meet Don Avenue with KJ Understall Drive, which will also connect to 100. I guess there's 0.02 acres, just kind of smidgen there, that's now going to be dedicated officially to the city so that we can connect to the 100 corridor there. So that is for commercial development. It will be C2 zoning as it currently is.
Okay, any questions from commissioners? I have one, but I'll wait till Kurt comes back up.
Where is it gonna hit Highway 100? I mean, give me a,
So KJ Understall Drive is, hold on so I can get my mouse on here.
Can you see it there? Otherwise,
Oh, hold on.
I mean, I'm just trying to visualize where we're gonna have another entrance into 100 there.
Yeah.
there already,
there is one now.
isn't there already just
It
a
isn't
rock?
there.
Yep.
I guess I should have used the pointer, but right here, do you see this
Yeah, I
little
see that.
sliver?
I'm just trying to visualize where it was out there.
Oh.
You say there's an
It's
entrance
the
out
Well,
there?
let me-
driveway that goes
let me
down
go
to
to the
the
map.
house.
Okay, that, if you say the
Okay.
house, now I know where you're
That
talking
explain,
about.
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Good evening. Elliot Reed with Cochran Engineering. I was gonna say, pull up the first slide you did, and you can see it right there. Kind of where that old house came in. That's where KJU Drive's coming in.
You're not looking at a right in, right out though, are you? Are you gonna,
We're looking at full access. We just haven't got to that point yet.
okay.
For this plat here, we're just gonna extend Don Avenue up to catch KJ
Right.
Understall Drive. But the future connection will be at KJ Understall up to 100.
So KJ Understall will not be built with this,
That is correct,
This
with
plat.
this plat, correct. Don Avenue's gonna extend down. Basically, as it stops right now, it's gonna connect another 2 lots and extend further to the west. We're gonna have to run a little bit
So-
of water and a little bit of sewer.
how far, what's the distance then from High Street to where KJ is going to be, the length of that street as it currently is proposed with this plat? Do you
We're
know?
going to extend Don Avenue, let's say, 500, 600 feet
So
From where it is now,
from where it is
from where it is right now.
but you don't know what the distance is then from High
So-
Street, do you? How far are you already built it?
It's probably, well, it's 2 lots, probably 400 feet.
Yeah.
Don Avenue is probably 400 feet built right now and probably another, 500, 600 feet.
You're gonna
I'd say.
basically double what you have now, or close to it,
A little
right?
over double.
So it's going to be longer than our cul-de-sac requirement.
Yeah, we'll need a temporary turnaround or
I-
something to,
Okay. I understand that. I'm just
for
trying
construction
to, I'm
purposes.
trying to get that connection point. Make sure we
And that,
don't-
and as you know, to the west there is Washington Terrace, the apartments are.
So how soon are you planning to develop KJ Understall? Any ideas, Kurt?
Yeah. John, just so you understand, Don Avenue has already been platted through the neighboring property that I sold to the apartment complex. And that is, the city's actually working with the gas company and phone company to connect Don Avenue to New Padre Road. So Don Avenue will go from the New Padre Road to that intersection. We'll pick it up from that intersection, running over to Dunkin' Donuts. So there'll be a through road for this plat and for the apartment complex.
Okay.
Our traffic study, Darren can elaborate, but we had issues with MoDOT getting the traffic study approved, and we finally got that approved. So the traffic study is planned for full signalization of KJU Drive, turning on to 100. So now we just got to figure out how to fund it, so.
I just didn't know if there was a timeline that you have
Yeah.
an idea if it's going to
No,
be.
it'll be a combination of demand and funding and all the above. But Don Avenue will be built as a through road. There was no need for a cul-de-sac because it's a through road,
Right.
so.
And I knew that. I just wanted to make sure we weren't just piecemealing it and adding as we went, that we were getting
Yeah,
that
well,
connection.
We are and we aren't. I mean, the other development, which again, I don't know the total acreage, but this is probably the largest development in the city of Washington's history with all of that land. It's over 140 well, close to about 200 acres, counting what we just annexed in tonight, and all in, all done. But, it's got to be done in piecemeal because
Right.
you got to wait till you got buyers for the commercial, and it's been a long time coming. It's 2005 we purchased that commercial ground. Took the rock off the highway, lowered the poles. Gas companies put the gas line through there, so it's been a long time coming. But we do have some prospective tenants. So Elliot is the engineer of record on this, so if you got any questions about that, he platted that, so.
Any questions from commissioners for either one of the two gentlemen? Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Motion made and seconded that we approve the applicant preliminary plat, Highland Meadows Plat 10, a 5-lot subdivision. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on. File number 24-0905, preliminary plat, Lafayette at Third. The applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat at the intersection of Lafayette and Third Street, a 3-lot subdivision.
So my slides disappeared. I don't know where they went. I apologize. I was working on them today, and I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe I didn't save it when I transferred it over. But you do have the plat in front of you. It's 3 existing buildings on one parcel. They just want to subdivide so that in the future, they can sell those other buildings or use them, I don't know, as he sees fit. It's just, it's our C3 district, so 0 lot lines. There was a question about the lean-to on, I guess it was building B. Let me look at it without my reading glasses. It was on, yeah, lot B, building B, but it's on the parcel for A, so I just mentioned that maybe we should take that off, so it's not an issue in the future, but may not be something that he has to do. It just depends on how y'all feel about that. But, yeah, that's it, and Andy's here, I think. Yep, there he is. You have any questions about that? Sorry, the slides are missing.
Andy Understall Construction. Yeah, that's the old Kleesner shop there, that block building, and then there's 2 brick buildings. So that lean-to that we're referring to, Sarah's referring to, is attached to the 218 Lafayette. But the electric is all, it needs to be redone in there, all the meters and everything are, you know, it's all just been added on. It's actually over the roof, and so I'd like to take the 218 and put a second floor on there, make that an apartment, and then have, it has its own garage and an entry from Lafayette Street, and then we'll take that lean-to, or I'll probably do something different, but put it off of the building that's at the corner of Second and Lafayette right there. So, or, yeah, Second or Third and Lafayette, right? Yeah. And so that lean-to can go away, you know, but the zero lot lines, then we'll record some easements in there for working on the buildings or whatever we have to do. And then we still have to trace out the sewers and figure out where the sewer goes there. We don't know, it's a couple different taps in the street where the sewers are tied into now.
So I guess what you're referring to, because I looked at it, and the rainwater comes off of building C and runs into the downspout system on building B. That right? That's back, I think, where that lean-to you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the green, well, the long block building, you
Right.
know, that water runs onto the other one there, so
Right.
that will all be changed. There'll be a hip roof on there,
Okay.
tying in
Okay.
back into that building.
That was my only concern.
Yeah.
We were gonna be making some changes there, so.
Yeah, definitely gonna, yeah, once I'll probably tear all that out of there and just gonna start over, you know, new electric and
Okay.
everything. Kind of a dysfunctional building right now. We store stuff in it, so might as well clean it up and make something out of it. So.
Any other comments or questions for Andy from commissioners?
I mean, I like the idea of adding more housing to downtown area. That's a really good idea, honestly.
Amen.
But also I'm curious, not really so much for Andy, but just in general, I know there's vacant buildings kind of surrounding that plot. Do you have any idea what those are going to be?
Which other buildings are vacant there?
I don't know, at least on this is adjacent land use, like north and south, apparently are vacant buildings, which I don't know.
One of them's in VRBO, I know that.
Okay, so really it's
That is right there.
on the
Is that
left,
vacant or
okay.
is that a?
Yeah,
that's
one
a-
on the left.
That's like a, yeah,
So technically, so not really
Yeah.
vacant, so it's a Airbnb,
yeah,
Just not use that often.
got it.
yeah.
And then it says south is vacant as well, so I don't really know.
Yeah, that's that building, that the little one there, the 218. Yeah, that's the city's building, the blue one, I guess, right? The city's
Yes.
still on that one? And then that brick building is 3 offices, 1 upstairs and 2 offices downstairs. It's just
Got
kind
it.
of a, you know, not a real functional office building, but I think the tenant's been there I inherited the tenant, that's been there like 20
Long
years or
time,
something.
yeah.
So they have it, but like that carport right there, we'll get rid of that, and then that 0 lot line will be, so that building on the right, the 2-story building, will have off-street parking there in that area. And then the garage goes with the green roof to the left. Once we do the living space upstairs, then that will be it'll have a garage parking, inside garage parking, so.
Got it.
So Sarah, can you go back north there a little bit to that first, and then look to the right? Because that's, right there is where I was seeing, see the green roof? The
So, yeah,
downspout,
well, that downspout
the
is on there,
downspout
yeah.
comes onto the back of
We're gonna-
that
Yeah,
building.
that roof will have to, where that flat spot is there, that's going to be part of this brick building. So this roof is gonna run into that roof, and then there'll be we'll have to do some type of drainage, yes. for the-
Okay.
for the downspouts, so. But that flat part in between the green building and the brick building will be the bathrooms and stuff like that, that'll get a second story on it, because it's all, we'll tear all that down too.
So is that a separated wall, or is that a common wall there now?
Well, there's a block wall, that green building has a concrete
Block
block
wall,
wall, but there's a
okay.
door, which will be closed off at that point, so.
Okay.
And so it'll be two separate, and we'll add a bathroom in the roof, building with the green roof, so it has its own, you know, a nice, you know, shop area, or it could be a nice office. It's got some nice windows and stuff in it, so. Well, I don't know, owned it for a couple of years, that's kind of run out of other projects, so we need something to do.
Any other questions or comments for Andy?
I'm anxious to see it done. Gosh, just another
Yeah, just
example
try to
of
clean it
making
up.
our downtown cool.
Yeah, and then the building next door there, we own that one too. That has 3 apartments in it. One on the first floor and one on the top, and then one in the green building is an apartment in that one too, so. And they're, hopefully we'll get that finished painted this year. New storefront put in, so.
Okay, no other questions?
just
Thank you, Andy.
Okay, thank you.
If no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the preliminary plat at the intersection of 3rd and Lafayette Street. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, I guess the next item on our agenda is,
Okay. This is,
Yours, Sarah,
I
right?
want to say the last time we're going to be looking at this. I feel like we've beat this one a couple of times, and it's just an itty-bitty code, but it was important to a few, and to get it right is important. So I did have an updated slide as well. Again, it's probably on my desktop and not in this folder, so I apologize. You know, we part it down. You have the red line version and you have the ordinance version of the code. The feedback that I got was very, again, you know, after the fact, I got minimal requests that I'm gonna bring to your attention. So in section 3, it says that temporary real estate offices or sales offices may be located within a portable building or display home as long as there's at least 10 lots. Well, it came up that maybe we could say it doesn't necessarily need to have 10 lots. What if we only have like 3 or 4 lots? Can we still have a display home? You know, it's obviously going to be sold after the fact, but can they have that as a display home even though it's less than 10 lots? So that was a question that came up last week when I sent out this this code change. So something to consider there. And then the other one was 3H. I don't know, you know, how important this is either, but it says prior to the listing of the units, and the verbiage they would like to see is prior to the sale of the real estate offices as opposed to the listing. And I'm not a developer. I don't really know the difference, like how that plays into their pocketbook or, you know, affects them in any way, but they say it's kind of important. So just something that I wanted to bring, you know, to the commission to consider.
So instead of prior to the listing, they went prior to the sale of the units?
Right.
So be able to list it, but then they're gonna know what they're actually getting, I guess, before the actual
Yeah,
sale.
before making any changes.
Well, they might not sell it for months.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's fair,
yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
So what were they requesting on the 10 individual lots?
There wasn't a minimum. It was like, I mean, they didn't request like 2 lots or 3 lots. Like we have a minimum of 10. They didn't specifically say. They just said if they have a subdivided and they're gonna sell off lots, that they could have a display home regardless.
If we kept it at 10 and somebody had a 5-house subdivision, could they come in and ask for a variance on that? That's my reasoning for keeping it with 10, is I think the idea is to make them, I don't know if substantial is the word, but make them larger properties if you're gonna put a sales office in it. But if somebody has a good reason, they could come up and ask for the variance to put a display home in something that's less than 10, was my thinking on it. see him, John?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What you guys might want to consider is, instead of it being lots, either have it as doors or addresses, because townhome construction, which really hasn't hit other than Andy doing these real nice ones downtown, townhome construction will eventually come out into the burbs, and those are, you know, 3-plexes and 4-plexes with single lot line construction. So I could foresee in the future builders wanting to build townhomes with some land, 0 lot line, and it could be in smaller chunks of land, smaller developments. So, you know, when you put up one townhome, McBride's done some, that I've done some sanitary sewer work over in St. Peter's. Those were 4-plexes and 3-plexes, and they look like a residential home because they move the gables up and down. So you might want to consider, instead of individual lots, just making a number of doors or number of addresses. You know, if you had 3 4-plexes, that'd be 12 addresses. So just something to consider.
Maybe dwelling units.
And individual lots and/or
Dwelling units.
Units?
addresses, whatever word is appropriate.
I kind of like that, adding a unit slash lot there.
Yeah.
I think that would clarify that in case we had, then they wouldn't have to.
Broadens
cover
it
both.
out,
Lot,
yeah.
If you were doing,
Right.
like, if that
Right.
comes in.
Maybe we should move that to 8. Then that, for his example,
Oh, 2, 4.
there we,
versus that.
yeah,
Yeah, but if you have a triplex, I mean, you're still,
So do we want to eliminate the minimum lot requirement? Is that what we're saying, or just reduce it, or leave it with the option for variance?
That
I
was
think we're
that was-
talking
that
about
was your
dropping it to
suggestion.
8, individual lots and/or, what was the word we used?
Units.
Dwelling, units?
Units.
Units.
Dwelling, Units.
That works. And they could still come in and ask for
They could sit, right.
fewer.
They had 2, 3-plexes and it was 6, they could still come in and ask for the variance, but we would go, you said 8?
I think that's
8
fair.
lots
Just leave it.
and/or dwellings.
I-
And then we were gonna take out the, prior to the listing, we were gonna say prior to the sale of the units, used for display purposes,
on H.
on H,
On each.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
for display purposes.
Any other comments,
It didn't read
commissioners?
right, but you'll get it right.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, right.
We don't need that in the form of a motion or anything, do we, Council? We do? Okay.
To amend it with those changes, so the
Yes.
motion would be to approve it with the amendments
Amendments.
as presented.
I'll entertain that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded that we, excuse me a second. Sorry, Fire Department. That we amend Section 3, H, to say, for the sale,
Sales.
remove listing, and then under Section 3, to limit it to number of 10, or 8 rather.
8
Minimum of 8,
Individual
yeah.
units.
lots slash units.
Excellent.
Is that correct?
That's good.
All
Nailed it.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The only thing I noticed, Sarah, in Section
We'll not bring
E,
it back.
there's a spelling error.
I know, I saw
Okay.
that too, so it's another reason to make a change.
All right. I think that's our agenda, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything else, commissioners?
Good work.
Otherwise, I'll entertain one last motion.
I'll make a motion.
To adjourn?
Yes.
Motion made and seconded to
Second.
adjourn. All
Yes,
those in
second.
favor signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Thank you.
Right on.
Good job.
Never happened.
Oh, that's what I told my wife. She asked me, it's gonna be a long one. I says, well,
I know.
I really don't
They're
see
thick.
it. I don't know. Quite a few of them.
My thing is, I wanna make it as easy for them.
Other than that.
Exactly,
I don't
exactly.
want,
Some of them guys come back.
exactly,
and
I don't want that either.
Different ideas about what was
Yeah, so
discussed
that's
with
the
that.
official